You have traveled in the lands of the Dusk Queen, fighting hard to obtain the shards for the mirror, the magic mirror. Will you enter the tower and assemble the mirror to complete the ritual, or will you keep the shards for yourself?
Hey friend, welcome back to the DM's Craft. Today we're doing our last build for the Shadows of the Dusk Queen, a fantastically fun module. And for this last build, I want to do the iconic mirror itself, right? Because the players are, little spoilers here, the players are locating shards of the mirror and, they can do, several things with it at the end. But I thought it'd be really neat to have this iconic mirror as part of the build, right? So when you go to the final chamber, where the throne of the Dusk Queen was, and you encounter the mirror and everything. So I thought this would be a really great build for the last build, and it's a bit involved, but it's well worth your time. And I hope you enjoy the this last build from Shadows of the Dusk Queen. Now let's start building that mirror.
All right, crafters, you got a lot in this craft, so let's get started. Now first I'm going to use my cold porcelain, right? And the reason I'm going to use this is because it's translucent and I want the light to shine through this, okay? So that's the reason I'm going to use my cold porcelain. So if you're not familiar with that, check out my video. And then what I did was I wanted to use a frame for the mirror, and I wanted to have the Shadow Queen's face show up in the mirror, lighted face. So that's why I'm using the cold porcelain, but I'm going to use these molds to make those, okay? So I've got a frame mold and I have the face mold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cold porcelain in the mold, let it dry, and then pull it out. Now with the cold porcelain, it is going to shrink. It shrinks about 15 to 20%, so you're going to see that in the mold. And one thing is you might get a little bit of warpage in the mold itself because of the cold porcelain shrinking and everything in the mold, but I really didn't find that to be a problem. It was fine, and I really like the cold porcelain because it's super hard. Other clays, they're not going to be necessarily translucent, or they're going to crumble or crack and that kind of thing. I love the cold porcelain because it's super hard, and that's why I wanted to use it. I also thought it'd be cool to have this be a lit feature, right? So you can have so much fun with these miniature LED lights. So I picked these up, and I just removed the little ring, the watertight ring that's around it, and I nipped the little loop at the back that you'd put on, something you'd hang or a necklace or something like that. Just cut that off, and I'm going to insert this into the craft, and it's going to be so cool with the purple light coming through the mirror. Can't wait to show you guys. Of course, I can't just have the mirror, right? I want to have a cool display for this. I'm going to make kind of this gothic display. So what I did was I made a couple templates. One was 4 inches tall and one was 3 inches tall. The side panels are going to be the 3 and the middle is going to be the 4. But what I did is I just measured halfway between the two and then kind of curved, just eyeballed it and curved, up to the Gothic arch there. And then I did the same with the smaller one. The only difference is the curved part is just an inch as opposed to 2 inches on the larger part. Going to use those templates we just made to make tracings on this ready board. The ready board I get from the Dollar Tree, and I like it from the Dollar Tree because the paper is really easy to remove, right? And that's going to be a component of this project, so that's important. So we're going to trace those out, cut them out with a sharp X-Acto knife. Then I'm going to cut strips that I'm going to use in the build. The strips will be 1/4 of an inch wide, and I'll just cut those out of my ready board also. To do the detailing on these, I'm just going to use a good old ink pen, right? Ballpoint pen, and push into the foam core that I've removed the paper from. And I want to do the brickwork on these, right? So I'm just going to measure 1/4 of an inch between the lines. And then I'm just going to fill these in by hand. So I'm just going to kind of guesstimate, where the bricks go. I'm not too worried about it being exactly perfect. So I'm just going to measure, eyeball that and fill that in with brickwork. And then the side work, I'll have the bricks coming out radiating from the center there. Just pull the pen out from the center and you get that kind of radiating brick pattern around the Gothic arch there. Also, once I get that finished, I'm going to take my little strips that I pulled the paper off of, and they easily bend. They bend very nicely, and you can bend them and glue them on with the hot glue gun, and just hold them for a few seconds till they stay in place, and then you have a really nice little Gothic arch there. So as you can see right here, I've done one large panel and then two of the side panels, and you'll see that's going to kind of arc in when we go further in the build. But I want to do the placement of the mirror, right? I want it kind of low, so I'm just basically doing above the first group of brickwork there on the piece, and I'm just measuring out the hole where the mirror will be placed on the panel there. Then I'll just cut it out with a sharp X-Acto knife, so I get that hole there. And then I could put the kind of mirror frame back on there, and I'm going to have the face, and you can kind of see how well this face is going to fit into the mirror frame, right? I really like the look of this. Wait till we get this done and light it up. It's going to be super, super cool, right? These panels are a bit thin, so I want to make a double thickness. So essentially I'm just going to cut out another piece the same size as the panels, and then remove the paper. And then I'll just do the stones on. This time I'm going to do a centimeter inch wide, and then just fill the stonework in the same way I did with the pen. But I'm just going to fill the whole thing in with just normal stonework. I'm not going to worry about the Gothic arch and that kind of thing. So it's going to kind of be the rear of the piece. So that's not important to have it that decorative, right? Just to have just have it be more utilitarian and not worry so much about the decorative aspect. Okay, now that I've got that done, I'm going to glue those together, but I'm going to glue them together with my hot glue gun on low setting. That's why I like the Sure Bonder. It has a low setting. It won't dissolve the foam. If the hot gun is too hot, it'll melt the foam and you won't get a good result. Now that I have all these constructed front to back, I want to make the panels, right? I want to hook them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue them together on the low setting, but I'm going to use my mat, my cutting mat, and kind of get that 45-degree angle off the central piece. And I'll have the two wings or the two side panels coming off the central panel at 45 degrees. And I'll just glue those on and move on to the next step. What I'm looking to do now is make a base for this, okay? So I'm going to use my foam core, and I'm going to use a nesting circle. I love these nesting circles. They're great for tracing and measuring. I'm going to use a 6-inch circle. You can find these at my link below. I'm going to trace this and then put the piece in the circle until the edges match the edge of the circle, so I can get that kind of angles I need to cut for the base. And I'll cut that, and those panels should fit right at the back of that piece. So it'll be really nice kind of base for this. For more detail in front of the mirror, I thought it'd be nice to have like kind of a pedestal stand on the main stand. So what I did is I used a 3-inch template, then measured it out, cut it out of the foam core, pulled off the paper. And then I also used the template, drew inside the template to get kind of a ring around the pedestal itself. And then I just started drawing the details into the template. I did some cool kind of runes, and drew some bricks, blocks in the center at kind of random angles. So I thought that was a fun little kind of pedestal that would be in front of the mirror. I also did the same thing with the main stand. I used the ring to trace into it, and then I used a smaller ring to do a second layer of the brick, right? And so I just drew the brick into the foam core, just like all the rest of the brick, with the ballpoint pen. And I think that looks really great. So then I just hot glued it with my low temp hot glue gun there and put it on the edge. You can see here it lines up perfectly with the edge since I traced around it. And wow, that looks so great. I love what we got going on here. The foam can be a bit fragile, so what I did is I took Elmer's glue all and mixed it with black acrylic paint and just painted it over the whole piece, right? So now I'm not actually going to have to paint this, right? So that's pretty cool. So I got in all the little nooks and crannies with that. I also started to add beads. So I have these cool beads details that I added on the side panels, and then I had these cool kind of vertical beads that I was going to add between the panels to give a nice kind of like detailed pillar coming up between those. So yeah, you can really add some cool details without a lot of work with using beads, and I just hot glued those in there. Lastly, I painted everything with this acrylic gesso. So it's kind of like glue and paint in the same kind of mix, right? It's not as strong as the Elmer's glue, but it'll stick nicely to objects like the beads and that kind of thing. So I painted the beads with the gesso, and yeah, now I'm not going to have to spray paint this at all. Alright guys, I'm going to use this blue-gray here because I want to get some kind of highlight on the stone. I think this will be fun. And I'll just get it on my brush. I use a chip brush here. It's just dry brushing. This is a dry brush technique. You put a little bit of paint on the brush and just kind of pull it over the surface, and you're just trying to get a little bit on there. You're not trying to fill it in or anything. And see all those highlights are starting to pop out. They're kind of hidden with the black there. But when you do this, it kind of pops all those nice little highlights that you made out of the piece. And just a super easy technique, and I use it all the time in my terrain. It's just really easy to do and quick. So there we go. We got some nice highlights popping out there. And we'll just finish this up. So it's filling all those little areas on the back. And like I said, you don't want to get too crazy with this. Like, I'm just using a little bit of paint on the brush. You don't want to make it blue, right? You're not trying to make it blue, but you're trying to catch the edges of that detail and make it pop out. So yeah, really cool. Really adds to that piece from just this blackness to a nice showing the details. So there you go. Sometimes with a single layer foam core, you'll get a bit of a bend, and so you can see here we got some bend there. So there's a way to fix this. This is a Y-lock technique, and that's just, I left the paper on the bottom, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add glue to the bottom, just straight out of the bottle, Elmer's Glue All, and just fill that in. And what I'll do is I'll use my damp brush and just kind of paint it all over the surface. And what you'll let that do is you'll let that dry overnight. And what will happen is that'll tend to bend that back, so you'll lose that warpage. So it's a really great technique. Not only that, it kind of reinforces the foam itself. Now that everything's glued together, I have a few more details, right? Where the mirror is going to be, I need a hole through the back because I'm going to have that light poking through, right? It'll kind of stick out the back. That's where the battery pack will be. So I'm just going to poke a hole in there. And I'm just guesstimating here. You don't want to make it too big. So just poke it through to the other side and then kind of twirl it. And you get a nice hole in the foam core there, right through the back side. And just clean it up a bit, So there we go. Yeah, it's just super easy. I picked up some icicles. I thought they'd be a really cool decoration on this. So I'm going to go from the top of the arch. And put it right at the top there. Put some hot glue in there. Drag it from the top of the arch to the top of the piece. And then just a little bit of glue in there just to secure it. So you don't want too much. You don't want it to be squirting out all over the place. Same with the smaller one on each panel. So really cool. I'm really liking this. I think that adds a nice detail to this. Just make sure those are secure. Let them dry. Let them harden up. You're good to go. I also found these kind of cracked glass beads, and I thought that'd be a really cool detail. So I'm going to put these on the little towers I made out of beads. So 2 points of contact, some glue on the tower itself and then on the background. And just push that into place. And wow, look at that. Really offsets against the black background there. And put the other on and we're good. Wow, awesome, awesome. I painted the mirror with a titanium gold, which I really liked on that ornamental frame there. And I want to have some magic swirling around in the mirror for the missing mirror, right? So I took the mirror piece and put it on an old CD case and then measured the interior by just putting it on there and then tracing the inside with a permanent marker. So then what I did was I took my hot glue gun and kind of swirled it around in that oval, and that gave me a nice kind of magic swirl in there. I really like that. And then all I did after that was I just took some stout scissors and cut the piece out, and it's ready for the next step. I'm going to measure another disc to fit in the mirror, but you may ask why I didn't use the CD case. Well, I want that one to be very sturdy and stiff. This one I don't want so much to be so. Also, I want to cut through the center of it. You'll see here in a minute. So I don't want that hard plastic one will be really hard to cut a circle through. So this is a lot thinner plastic and will be much, much easier. So I'm just going to mark that with the X-Acto knife. I'll just trace around into it with the X-Acto knife. Actually, probably should have done it with the first one, but hey. So I'll just cut it out. It's easier to cut out because it's the thin plastic. But I'm going to use this for the next build where the face is coming out of the mirror. Got all my components, the light, the disc. I cut the hole in with the X-Acto knife. And my face there, right? So I'm just going to push that through the hole. And that's the thin plastic I cut from the lid. Put a lot of glue on there. And just put the face on there and let that harden up. Now that the face is hardened to the light, you can see there's a big gap there, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill that in with hot glue. And I'm just going to build that up and kind of drag it down onto the plastic layer. So the end effect I want with this is that it looks like the face is kind of popping out of the magic of the mirror, right? So I think that'd be really cool. So just keep filling that in and dragging the glue down till you're satisfied with it. Now that we have it assembled, let's test this bad boy out. So we'll turn the light on, and wow, look at that. That is so cool, the light coming through the translucent face. So awesome. That's going to be so great when we assemble this with the piece itself. And then what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit of paint in there, a little bit of black paint, and that'll cover up that hole so you won't see the white. Now I'm going to glue the frame on, taking care not to cover up the holes around the frame. You don't want the glue to show through, right, when you put this on. So once that's all covered up, pop it on there. And then quickly grab the face and make sure the positioning is right? Because you don't want it to be cockeyed or anything like that. So wow, look how cool that is. Really, really cool. So now we just have to make it so we can fit the magic in there also. So, but yeah, we had the face already done, so that's why we did it this way. Very cool. Gonna look great lit up. Now I want to apply the swirling magic to the mirror, the separate piece, but it's kind of going to be reversed, right? So I'm going to stick the peg through the light and put a dab of hot glue on there, enough that it's secure, and then put the piece on so I can get it in there just right, so it looks like it's filling the mirror. There we go. So really cool. Super easy to do, and that'll also light up. So really, really cool. I've got the disc for the magic secured, but I want to secure that a little further because it's just on the dome of the light, right? So I'm going to go around in the crevice between the dome and the magic and kind of drag some more glue onto the light. That way it'll be totally secure and it won't pop off on you. So there we go. All done. I wanted to age the mirror frame a bit and give it some shading. So what I did is I used some some black wash, which is just basically black acrylic paint, water, and a little bit of soap, and that's all you need. So I just painted that on the mirror frame, and I'll let that dry, and it'll actually bring out some more of the details as well as age it a little bit. For one last little accent, I'm going to use this glitter paint, and it's basically transparent, but the glitter, you can see the glitter on the surface. And it's really nice because it has kind of micro glitter in it. So this is going to give like a nice kind of magical effect to this. And you can see the medium on there right now, but when it dries, it'll be clear. So you'll just see right through it, and then you'll just see the glitter. So this is going to be really awesome. So let's hit our table and see how this looks. In the module, the Shadows of the Dusk Queen, the players interact with the Dusk Queen and then have the choice whether to put the mirror shards in the mirror or not. But I went a little beyond that in this build. I thought it'd be fun to have some visual options like the magic swirling in the mirror instead of just the cracked pieces missing from the mirror. And then if they assemble the mirror, like the head of the Shadow Queen kind of coming out of the mirror fully like charged and revivified or whatever. So I thought that would be cool. And that's what I was going for with this build.
I really want to thank Cobalt Press for sponsoring this video, and because I just love the module, and I was just so happy to team up with them. Also, you're going to want to check out their website because they have amazing materials for gamers like you and I. Make sure to like and share the video so we can introduce as many people as we can to the wonderful world of game crafting. Make sure to leave any questions or comments below the video. I read all the comments and answer all the questions. So yeah, make sure to do that if you have any questions about techniques or anything about the video, or just want to make a comment. Also, wait, one last word from me.
So quickly, guys, I wanted to show you the light feature. Here's the face and the mirror swirling around, or the magic swirling around in the mirror. And there's a little tab in there. I took that out so the batteries can connect. And wow, just pop that in there, and so cool. It just looks like magic swirling around in the mirror. Great light, really gives that shadow effect, with the purple. So I'm going to take that out and put the tab back in because the tab helps the batteries from being drained, so I like to keep that in when I'm not using it. And the face popping out is really, really neat. And I've been using more and more of these light features in my game, especially as my players have leveled up and are doing crazy and fun spells. It really seems to like up the ambiance of the game and make it just seem more magical to match their power level.
Hey craft friends, I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to give me a like. Also check out my Patreon. That goes a long way to helping me support this channel. I buy new equipment with it. I bought new equipment and I buy supplies and all that kind of stuff, and it really helps me be the best I can making videos for you guys, and that is so appreciated, you guys that have joined the Patreon and supported the channel. Now there's just some small levels. $1 level a month is just you get extra content that I put on my Patreon from DN Scotty. Also, if you do the $5 level, you get your name in a video. So thank you so much for that support. I really appreciate it. There's also another way you can help support the channel, and that's using my affiliated links. And how that works is when you go through a link and buy something that I suggest for the craft, then I get a little bit of a kickback, and there's no extra cost to you guys. So if you just go to those links and purchase stuff through those links, and maybe stuff you're going to buy anyway, you don't even have to buy the thing that's on the link. You can go there and then buy something else. I get a little bit of kickback on it, and that goes a long way to supporting the channel too. And thank you everybody that's done that. I appreciate you guys, and have fun crafting. Go forth and craft.